All right, what did we watch?
What? I don't remember what the name of it was.
Cuckoo.
Called Cuckoo. Cuckoo?
I think it's Cuckoo. Like cuckoo clock, right? Isn't that what it is?
Yeah.
Or however you
like
say
the
it.
bird.
Anyway, this is a new movie. This is on Disney Plus or Hulu, and I don't know. Let's just like briefly summarize it and then just jump right into it.
I'm gonna let you summarize.
Yeah, I mean, it's about a family who moves from the States to Germany to build a resort or help build a resort, and the person that her father is building a resort for is very strange. Strange things starts happening to her and her family. That's about it. Like, let's just jump right in, man.
Yeah.
This is like, this was a chore to get through. If I'm being honest, like this was like I felt like maybe halfway through, first, like throughout the beginning, I'm just thinking like, just get on with it. And then about halfway through, it's like the plot is just so all over the place. It is like, they're dealing with like little bits of time travel. They're dealing with creepy voices in the night. Mm-hmm. They're dealing with
a crazy German, mastermind.
I mean, it's just like this movie is just everywhere, and it just honestly, like, So speaking of this German villain, I mean, this movie makes for a better bad James Bond movie than it does a horror movie. Like, doesn't that guy just have sort of this James Bond villain vibe? He's just like. He's like a experimenting with people and turning them into birds.
Yeah, he's like every stereotypical German villain, scientist, bad guy, which we've seen. I think specifically like any Indiana Jones kind of feels like that, which I feel like they do it better. Like it feels like so tropey and goofy to me.
It just like I guess, like, just to touch on the plot point, just so it'll make sense of what we're talking about, is ultimately what you find out is that this German scientist person is experimenting on women and turning them into, like, a genetically engineered cuckoo bird.
Yeah.
And the cuckoo bird, what they're known for is by laying their eggs in the nest of another bird. The other bird raises them, and that is how they raise children effectively.
Yeah.
They deposit their eggs elsewhere. They have another bird raise them, and that sort of becomes the main plot point for this movie is this idea of these birds breeding women and having their eggs raised by another individual. And I don't know, man. I mean, it's just like there is a lot in this movie that they're just throwing at the wall. There's the love interest that she has. There's her running this resort. There's her dad, who is like every single horror dad you've ever seen, who is like unwilling to listen to the person pleading for help and for in trying to explain the scenario. It reminds me so much of We Need to Talk About Kevin. Just this aloof individual who's just like, nope, I won't hear it. I'm not going to deal with this. This is crazy. You're crazy. I'm out of here.
Yeah. I think I agree. I mean, I find that there are a few scenes that make it like not even seem redeemable, but like all the things that you can kind of guess about the movie and eventually happen. Of course, like we were joking about the German guy being the bad guy, and well, he is. Like, big surprise, like this weird German guy who's not really being very forthright about like what is happening and like the motives that he has. Especially since like in the beginning he seems to want to protect this girl, but then I don't know. And I think the whole idea with like the Cuckoo like being like passed on like the human traits was like, I bet someone was like reading about it and was like, you know what, that would make a cool horror movie. And you're like, this is what they kind of produced from that, and it feels just, it's very sloppy. It's like sloppy. It's all over the place. Like and I'm gonna be honest. At the very end, I didn't get it. I didn't get like the points like that they were trying to make. The ones that you're supposed to be like, oh my gosh, like that was so and so or like whatever. Never landed with me because the kind of the big point was like, I will say like the part of the theme of this movie is there's definitely a grief aspect. The Gretchen, the main character, her mother, dies at some point, and she uses like her voicemail to like vent and like kind of relay things that are happening, and then in the end, like the brood mother, we think there is a connection between like her dad and her real mom with this guy, and then apparently her mom is like this brood mother, and then Gretchen eventually kills her, and you don't really know because we've never seen a picture of her mom, and they're like, oh, this is, and she does refer to her as mom, which is very strange. To me, it felt like it was trying to like hit this like boom, like, oh, we surprise you? And they're like, we're just like, oh, we didn't know what that meant.
Well, like, I think that the only picture you see of her mom is the one that she has in her back pocket.
Yeah.
And there's a short bit of exposition where this retired police officer who is also involved in this case, where he explains that, oh, your parents came here on their honeymoon, because you can see Gretchen's mom, her dad, and what's the Koenig?
Koenig.
Yeah,
Koenig.
Is the German antagonist. And so you see her, and you get this. At that point, you realize, okay, well, her parents have known about this place for quite some time, and what it seems to me is that he performed this experiment on Gretchen's mother. Gretchen's mother is the one whose offspring is Alma, Gretchen's sister. And that Cuckoo, genetically modified human, is her mom. Is that how you're interpreting this as well?
I think I'm kind of reading about it because I just need somebody to like spoon feed me this because it was that convoluted. It says, let me just read you what this says. Gretchen's deceased mother was a victim of the Cuckoo experiments at the resort, and the blonde hooded woman is a member of the species that impregnated her years ago.
Okay,
so that's kind of like, well, let's see.
The blonde-haired woman is then not Gretchen's mom. It's
Correct.
just another individual in this set of experiments that is happening.
And the blonde hooded is a member of the species that impregnated her years ago. So that woman impregnated her mother,
right?
And then Gretchen was born. So to me, again, it shouldn't be this hard to understand. Like, I don't know. It feels like they were going for some type of twist, and I didn't get the twist. I don't know. It just lands so short of like being like a good thriller. In terms of like the horror aspects, I think it's really frustrating. I think the character does a lot of things that just feel very stupid at times, and like very like not goofy, but just like silly and incorrect. I think that one line she does have redeemed, she kind of redeems herself, is like the heir Koenig is talking about like your family was supposed to stay here, and she's like, hello, like, Dad, what the hell does that mean? Like, that's the weirdest thing you could say. And she kind of points out the obvious, and like Aaron said, it kind of pokes fun at his aloofness. Like, he's just so like, duh. He's just like, he's not really attached anymore, and it just feels very strange.
I just think moments like that when you're watching a movie, it doesn't have to be a horror movie, though it happens a lot in horror movies, is when you have this person that we are typically seeing the movie through their eyes, like that we are seeing their perspective, and they're trying to coherently explain that things are not right, they're off. And you get this other character who is like, you're acting crazy, you're out of line. It is the most tired, boring, annoying trope of movies, because like, in my opinion, it feels like it's just it makes the movie worse, because it's like, I can't resonate with this person. It is not furthering the plot. All it does is just continues to isolate this person and makes them feel as though they're just going through this alone. They have no help. And so having these people explain plot points and explain what's happening, and just to have somebody on the other end saying, no, you're imagining it, you're going crazy, is so incredibly obnoxious. And in my opinion, like, I think it hurts movies whenever you have this happen, because there's no character development in that person who's making those statements, the person who's outright ignoring the things happening right in front of them. It's not developing their character other than just a complete buffoon. It's very frustrating. And so, like, it's just a huge turnoff for me whenever I see this scene that could be, a pretty strong, not climax of the movie, but a really tense scene. Mm-hmm. And it's just like undercut so heavily by a character who's just unwilling. Again, it's just like, we need to talk about Kevin. They don't talk about Kevin because the husband in that movie is constantly just saying, you're crazy, you're imagining things. It's so obnoxious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I think there's a lot of shortfalls with this movie. I think, again, kind of like the whole plot again, and just like the lack of growth from the characters. It feels like we're watching just like, I don't know. It doesn't seem to want to unfold. Like it's a story that wants to be told, like, through its ideas and like spooks, and it just feels so unfulfilling to finish it and just to be like, oh, all right. Like,
there's just like, it's like there's too many different plots happening throughout this movie. There's like her moving, there's the resort itself, there's her working at the resort, there's the relationship she has with Beatrix, there's the relationship she has with Ed, there's a relationship she has with her sister, there's the relationship she has with her boss, there's her being in this new place,
and then like the cop, the Henry guy.
Yeah, there's the Cuckoo, there's the actual Cuckoo mother that's trying to that's antagonizing the protagonist the whole time. It's just like, it's like making a meal out of a bunch of snacks.
Yeah.
It's like, you have this snack, then this snack. It's like if all you had were appetizers. It's like, it doesn't ever feel like a complete meal. It just feels like I got full on fried pickles and mozzarella sticks and pretzels. Like, it just doesn't feel cohesive. I feel like there could be something interesting here, but boy, this plot is just all over the place. It is a mess. It is a real mess.
I mean, and the whole motivation is like, he runs this resort so people will basically have sex, and then or like where the brood mother can come and inseminate these people, and like, I guess this is the only family that comes back, because that's when this mother's trying to reclaim her daughter Alma. Right, I'm guessing that's like I don't know. There's something there that I just am misunderstanding.
But like, the thing is, they run this resort, and then behind the scenes, the real existence, the real reason for this resort is to perform this experiment and continue the growth of these like cuckoo hybrid things. Mm-hmm. But it's like, why? Like, for what's the purpose of that?
Well, when you're a German scientist, you don't really, that's your motivation. You have to fulfill your trope.
That's just, I think the thing that sucks is like, I don't know. I mean, maybe you don't feel the same way, but I feel like the guy who plays Air Koenig, he does a good job. I think he plays a good villain, good, again, like a good, more James Bondish kind of villain.
Yeah.
But I think he does a pretty good job. But his, like, the motivations behind what he's doing, why he's doing it, the I don't know. It feels like, and we've talked about this in a couple movies, is I don't need to have an explanation for everything, but it just seems like the story beats in this are just like, and this happens, and this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens, and it's like, why? What is going on? Why? Like, what do they want with this? With Alma? What do they want with creating more of these hybrids? What do they want with, like, this family? It's just, it is like so overwrought.
I mean, it's kind of like there is some element of control because he's got this flute, but to me, it just feels like, what is the ultimate motivation besides controlling them anyways? Like, again, it does feel very James Bondish. Like, he's developing an army of these Cuckoo hybrids to do what? Like, I agree. I think the true motivation is not, it's kind of like, and I don't know. I want to say, like, movies don't have to be perfect or, like, have to be realistic to be, like, good. Like, as long as they play by their own set of rules, I think there are certainly things that are permissible, but it feels like they kind of bend the rules at certain points that, makes it feel like less believable, less plausible, and, like, less enjoyable, honestly, Like, again, the ultimate motivation is so bizarre. I just, and kind of the other thing maybe I'm just not understanding is, like, when these people get inseminated or whatever, they become, or, like, whenever they get whatever, like, they show the throats of these people, like, vibrating, and, like, all things are getting fuzzy around their heads, like, whoa, it's very bizarre. Aren't people, like, writing Google reviews or Yelp reviews about this place being like, man, there's this weird screeching thing, and the next day my girlfriend starts throwing up, and then people are like, wow, that's weird, my wife threw up the next day too. That's so bizarre. Like, to me, it's like, feels so, I don't know, like there's got to be some type of complete ignorance from, like, goers to this. Like, they must completely just be oblivious to, I don't get it.
Well, I mean, like, first of all, I forgot about the flute, which was like, what the hell? What is happening?
Yeah.
But I was going to bring up a thing that I didn't understand until you started talking about that point, which may be how it ties in, is this idea of, like, time looping. It was like, what is this about? Why is the time looping? I'm wondering if the time looping is an explanation why there aren't people who are like, wow, this place is super weird. What is going on? Like, the time looping, it almost seems like, in general, people don't know that it has happened. When the time loops, it's not like the people that are in the loop are like, hey, what is going on? Have you ever seen, like, a movie where they're doing that? They're, like, skipping through time, they're going backwards, and some of the people are cognizant that it's happening.
Yeah.
This isn't like this. This is like, they literally forget. And I wonder if that is a way that they are keeping people from remembering these kinds of experiences, because,
well, even if it's,
they're rewinding and you don't really sense it.
I kind of see that, but I guess the other part is, like, in an argument to that is, like, the throwing up is, like, a very prevalent thing that these people do. Like, they get sick, like, how many people are visiting these places and then they end up getting sick, like vomiting. Like, you always see, like, there are people vomiting randomly in the middle of the night at this resort.
It's just a bug going around.
It just feels bizarre. I kind of see, again, I think ultimately, I think that's where someone's idea, it definitely feels like somebody was, like, reading about cuckoos and they were like, oh, that's interesting. Like, it's another way to, like, well, we don't want to have a regular zombie movie, but what if we did, like, this bird, like, had some, and I'm a huge bird fan. I feel like it just feels too goofy. Like it just like the way even like the monster is like the brood mother, like, you know, just it comes off a little bit more silly, especially when they show you like the throats and like when they do like the screeching to kind of control or like do the time loop thing. It just kind of like it feels very bizarre. Like it goes into this like vibrating throat thing, and then like the very ending I thought was interesting. Like, you know, they kind of like summarize, they kind of like play it back on you. Like whenever there's Henry has a gun and Eric Koenig has a gun, and their motivations are separate because Gretchen and Alma walk in the middle between them, and neither of them get shot because Henry has a vow to the girl, like, I swore to protect you, and Eric Koenig doesn't want to kill the broodmother's offspring, Alma. So it's like, that's kind of an interesting point at the very end. But it just feels, and then like, you know, so that I felt that was like kind of interesting, you know, because their motivations are separate. And then at the very end, they're standing, I mean, how far away from, like 3 feet from each other with a gun pointed at them, and supposedly they both shoot at the same time, and they kill each other with a gun. Like, you can't tell me that them standing 3 feet away from each other and they shoot, how that would be impossible. Like, that was another part. I'm just like, that is so stupid. They both end up killing each other because they both shoot at the same time when they're 3 feet away. Do you know how precise you'd have to be to like shoot each other at the exact same time? I don't know.
You know, the other thing I really didn't like about this movie is that it gets a little lazy about how it resolves scenes. Like,
yeah,
where sometimes what will happen is there'll be like a tense scene and you're seeing sort of a bunch of chaos kind of unfold, and then the way it resolves is, oh, and then Gretchen woke up and she's in a different place, and it's like that happens a couple different times in this movie, and it just comes off as like, we didn't really know how to wrap up that scene, so we're just going to have her effectively teleport to a new one.
Yeah.
And it was like,
it's very lazy.
Yeah, and nobody really acknowledges it either. It's not like Gretchen's like, whoa, what happened? How did I get here? Mm-hmm. I thought I think that kind of thing is just like, yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm not a big fan of that kind of thing. This movie is like 1 part Twin Peaks, 2 parts James Bond, and another part
James Bond.
Like, it really is.
I mean,
I it is just all over the place, and it's, you know, I think a movie can be all over the place and be good. I think my biggest problem is that it just seems like a bunch of underdeveloped plots all in a big pile, and maybe they could do something, but I just find a lot of this movie very silly, very hard to take seriously. I think that it's,
yeah,
it like, I don't find that the protagonist is all that interesting. You know, like, I don't know.
I can't relate to anything that she does aside from like the grief from her mother, which I feel like is the one part that I was hoping to see some type of resolution for, but I feel like it didn't resolve. Like, it didn't.
Yeah, and I like, it doesn't necessarily need to, but I felt like I felt like the storyline of her mother having died was a little inch deep. Like, it didn't seem to have a whole lot of depth to it.
Yeah, like,
it just is. It's like, it is a character trait of hers, and I don't know. I felt like
it didn't seem to play a whole part in the movie, or like a big part. I don't know. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
I feel like most of the characters just, to me, aren't particularly interesting. I think that, again, Eric Koenig, you know, obviously he's the villain, but I think that he was the most developed character. He seemed to be the most interesting character. Mm-hmm. But it was like, okay, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
What are you making bird people for?
Evil German scientist things, guys.
I just don't get it. Anyway, I don't know. I didn't like it. I didn't really like this movie.
I would not recommend, unless you just have the time to not waste. I feel like, I don't want to say it's as bad as it. I feel like it is right now. I kind of have to like mull things over a little bit.
I just feel like it's just boring.
It does feel a little bit like drawn out, a little lackluster. You kind of like want to know what the mystery is, and then you kind of get it, but then like you just kind of get enough where you're just mostly confused. Like there's something happening with like who could be real and who could be not, like a Cuckoo child. But
I would just say, like, take your 2 hours and invest it into like Twin Peaks or X-Files or something, because I feel like it'd be better spent.
Honestly, it's not a bad idea.
I think this could have been like an X-Files sort of episode.
Short. You know, that's true. I feel like if it was just like kind of a condensed 45-minute, or like even if this could be some kind of like short, I do think for as long as it was, like I didn't really see much character development. And then like it's funny, at the very end, like Eric Koenig walks in and he's got some kind of like wound to his chest. Oh, I guess that's when he got shot. Never mind. But then like the dad takes the mother away. Beth, I think, is almost like,
quote unquote, you mean Gretchen's stepmother?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Like I don't get what her beef was, like what was going on with her at all. Like I don't understand if she inseminated at some point.
It seemed like maybe,
and then like gave birth to Alma. I'm guessing that was probably what happened. And then like the dad just doesn't come back. I don't know. It just feels like so hollow.
Okay, well, I'm curious because we don't often. I don't think we ever have asked this, but like, if we were to, if somebody were like to say, okay, you guys think this movie sucked, then what would you do to fix it? What would your answer be? I'll give you what I think, but I'm curious what you think. What would you do?
Let me think about it for a second.
Do you want me to go first, and then you can...
I kind of want to maybe think of my own thoughts before I don't want to bounce any ideas, but
I mean, I can go first if you want to think. Yeah,
I think. Yeah, you go ahead.
I mean, I would say pick a couple plot points to roll with, and I would drop some of the others. Like, to me, I don't find the story with Ed's deal to be all that interesting. I think that you could drop that one, and I think of it as like a push-pull lever kind of thing. Like drop the storyline with Ed, and elevate the storyline in the relationship with Gretchen and her dad. Like, maybe the dad is somehow in on this. Yeah. That would be interesting.
Yeah.
Or the storyline of, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't drop the Beatrix one. I think that having another character and seeing...
Yeah.
I think that's important to make a good movie, is seeing other stories unfold. But the Ed one, it just doesn't seem like it's that interesting. Doesn't seem all that, like, relevant. Yeah. I would say that... I'm trying to think of some of the other plot points. I mean, that's what I would ultimately do. I would take a couple of these out that just seem inconsequential and elevate more, because there's really not a whole lot of scenes with Gretchen and her dad like discussing their relationship and what happened with her mother and why are we here? How do you know this guy? Like, I think that would have elevated the movie for me.
No, I definitely see what you're saying. I would agree. I think it's hard to like specify exactly what, I mean. It sounds like right now we're watching the scene where he plays this flute, but then like, is he trying to harm her? I don't get it, because like if her friend is Lewis, her dad, then wouldn't he want to protect her? I don't know. Okay, so like what I would change, I feel like this movie needs to maybe like, I don't know, like pick a lane, like lean into the trope, maybe. Like if you're gonna have an evil scientist, German, like Herr Koenig, like make him maybe more like sinister. Like he kind of feels kind of dumb a little bit in some instances, and like I know they're trying to, I don't know, like it just feels like it's so inch deep, like you were saying, in some spots. Like maybe lean into the tropes a bit more, make parts of it more at stake besides just with one person. Like I know it's centered around Gretchen, which is fine, but it just makes me feel like the whole time, again, and maybe it's lack of character development, but you just don't really, you just kind of, I don't want to say you don't care, but there's really ultimately nothing that's like gripping me to the story with like, because of how messy it is. Like it kind of gets too confusing to be like, to me to be like, to care about the people enough in the story.
Yeah. I think that it would have been more interesting if they had played up like this idea of the Cuckoo hybrid individual people things are it is the story. It is like the most interesting part, and it would be cool to see more. I don't know, like to see where do they live, like when it's at night and you're seeing these creatures come out from the woods or whatever. It's like, how did they, where do they come from? Where do they live? Where do they sleep? What do they eat? What do they do? Like, I think that there would be some interesting things to show if they were to not make these creatures like the third bit player. Yeah. I feel like you see these so infrequently. I will say that, like, and it's this isn't a huge deal because I think that, like, some movies do this and it can be effective even when you have this, but the people who are quote unquote the bad guys are very obvious. Like the police officers that, seem like they're trying to stay abreast of everything that's happening in this resort, and the obviously like the mad scientist, he's pretty suspicious right from the get-go.
Right.
It's very on the nose, but I do get what you mean, that like they could play into that further. They could really like even make that more sinister.
Well, and I'll say this like only because we watched the movie. Like weapons, like the main antagonist, and spoilers for that if you don't want to listen to this. But like Aunt Gladys was like the most tropey looking person, and she was bizarre, and it became it was like a little goofy, but like it worked very well. Like it just worked so well. Like it wasn't trying to take itself too seriously. So like pick a lane. Are you going to be kind of tropey, but like let's make it like scary, or are you going to like just kind of like, I don't want to say half-ass the characters, but because I think there are some parts that are good, but again, I like I said the other, before this, was there's just so much going on that you just learn, like you can't really deeply care about any set of particular characters. Like you just don't really, like you don't know what like Henry's motivation, like his wife was involved at some point, but then everyone's involved at this point with like some type of like weird brooding thing, parasitic brooding, and everyone's affected, but at this point it's at the very end of the movie and you're like, oh my god, like I just want to see how they could resolve this. And then when it resolves, it just feels it kind of feels half-assed. Yeah, I know what you mean. I do think that another thing this movie really suffers from is people doing things that are just incredibly unbelievable. Like it's very hard to suspend your belief, because I mean, like, it's talking about more horror trope. It's like, don't ever trust anybody in a hospital that has no more than 6 people that work there. Yeah.
You know what I mean? They go to this hospital, it's always night. There's like no more than 6 people who work there. It's like, there's clearly something shady happening here.
Yeah.
And her general disposition to her boss, like her boss is clearly a creep, And she's like, sure, I'll go ahead and just drive with you, and you can drive me to wherever you want to go.
Hey,
and
write this note that says you're not coming back.
yeah, write a note to your family saying that you'll leave right this second, and also come with me in my car so that we can go get money. And it's like, it's just like, stuff like that is what, just for me, I mean, I can't speak for everybody, for me, is what makes these characters uninteresting. Because I feel like they're just they're horror vehicles. They're just like a car transporting you from the next scare to the next scare.
Right. Driving
instead
the
of
plot.
being like a living, breathing, interesting person who, and to me, like, I think a good horror movie are the ones that, like, their motivations do make sense. And sure, they can make some dumb decisions, but like, when they are just kind of a vessel that just takes you from jump scare to jump scare or tense scene to tense scene, and that's all they're there for, is just like a plot device. It's like, that to me is where I just feel like, gosh, this movie didn't really do a whole lot of character development.
Yeah.
The story beats are all over the place. It's silly. It's like, not just silly, but it's just extremely silly and like all just like goofy.
I think there's some contradictory stuff, and we don't have to rehash too much of it, but the part where the Gretchen, even, and I talked about this earlier, was when like she's like, what the F are you saying, Eric Koenig? Like, why do you want us to stay here? And then he like blows out this whistle and whatever, like and then literally, like, I don't even know how long it was, like, after that, like, what, 20 to 30 minutes later, he's like, get in the car with me, write this note to your family that says you won't come back. And then she's like,
sure.
She's like, well, whatever.
Totally. Yeah, totally.
And you're like, it just feels just, and I guess, like, you could say, well, she's 17, her dad says she's not yet 18, so it's like, she's got to be, she's a 17-year-old girl, so she's kind of dumb anyways. But it's like, I feel like no 17-year-old girl is that stupid, especially after all the things that had happened to her. But I get it. She wants to leave this place.
Yeah.
So maybe there is some motivation, but
I mean, and it's like that only. It like, it doesn't work in my opinion, but it only passively works for a movie plot because her dad is a complete dickhead. Like, just he is constantly talking about how, like, you're bothering me and we have to help your sister out. Like, her dad does not give her the time of day.
Yeah.
She's in the hospital, was in a car wreck, she has a head wound.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I'm out of here. And she's talking about how she's afraid of this woman that's been chasing her. And he's like, it's not real. It's not real and you're dumb. And it's just like.
Yeah. But maybe there is some, like, idea that he does know what's going on because they're quite familiar with each other.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He most certainly probably knows what's going on.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's just, it doesn't work to me because it's like he's not sympathetic to his daughter, and it doesn't seem like he's trying to help the antagonist. So it's like, what are you doing? Like, what is your job in this movie?
Yeah.
Is it just to be somebody who has no clue what's going on? Are you the audience proxy? Like us just watching this and having absolutely no clue what's happening?
Yeah.
I don't
So
know.
I agree. I think this movie was a little, I don't know.
I thought it was boring and chaotic, and I didn't like it.
Yeah, I'll be honest.
Didn't like it.
Yeah, I think it's a little messy for, like, and it's not, honestly, it doesn't feel that scary. It doesn't feel that scary. Like, where's the visceral spook, Is it just bird people? Like, I don't get it.
Yep.
And that's how and that's the story.
That's it.